All right, deep spit session. Going fucking down. I gotta tell you people something. I had a harsh realization today, and I fucking enjoyed it. I was actually very pleasantly surprised and happy about this harsh reality check, which is things are gonna suck. I hate to tell you people, things are just gonna suck. There's things called trade-offs in lives, and I think young men have forgot about the idea of the trade-off. They're not familiar that when you have trade-offs, there's positives and then there are negative things that come with it. And a lot of times people get mad because they want the trade-off, but they don't want the negative things. Let me tell you something. That's a fast way to fucking hell. Fast way of a hell of a shitty life if you just don't accept the negative things with the positive. It's how the game goes, man. Like, the universe is perfectly balanced. So if you get a bunch of money, it's because you got to do a lot of fucking shit. At least as a man. Even as a woman, you got to do a lot of bullshit you don't want to deal with if you make a lot of money. If you get a man that makes a lot of money. Because he's going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. You're not that important in his life. Sorry. It just sucks sometimes. So life has trade-offs. And once you understand these trade-offs, you begin to be like, okay, I kind of get a couple things about life. And once you accept those things, it's like, all right, you chilling. You don't know no reason to complain. You accepted it. You accepted the terms and agreement of whatever particular life you're dealing with. If you don't like it, go change it. It's free to do. There's nobody stopping you from doing it. If you're willing to deal with the consequences, whatever you choose to do, which is really just the trade-offs, bam, you get the life you want. And so what I realized today was there's 3 things you need to understand when dealing with trade-offs. Number 1, you are going to have to suffer regardless. I hate to tell people this. Like, suffering is life. You don't get to get out of suffering. You're going to suffer through boredom. You're going to suffer through dangerous shit. You're going to suffer through malnourishment. There's a lot of shit you're going to suffer through. And it's through the suffering that you then get the better thing on the outside, which is the life you want. Because the way that life works is you got to do the work first, and then you get the rewards. So you got to suffer. Then bam, you get the shit that you want. You're like, oh, man, that was cool. But here's the thing what people don't understand about suffering. If you choose to do nothing, your suffering only gets worse. Sorry to tell you that, people. Suffering only gets worse if you don't work against it. So either you're going to make yourself suffer by doing hard shit you really don't want to do, such as working out, eating correctly, limiting your screen time, working harder at your job, or making your own thing. Like, you're going to have to spend more hours doing more things. It's just the way the game goes. You don't get anything without doing something, which is the horror that humans have experienced, and they still can't figure out for some reason. Because some humans realize, holy shit, I'm so fucked. I only want to try to fight. But if you don't fight, you don't win. And if you can't win, you can't live. So you got to fight to live. Hey. So, just understanding. You gotta suffer with something, man. If you enjoy certain aspects of life, you're going to have to suffer to achieve those particular goals. Because it's like a debt that has to be paid to the universe. So, like, if I want to find gold, I got 1 or 2 things I can do. I can get in a fucking mine, start fucking shoveling, and then doing all this shit, and hopefully I hit a mine that has gold, which chances are not. Or I can just take my money and pay somebody the gold. Now, which one takes longer? Which one's more suffering? The one where you have to go dig it yourself, but the trade-off is you don't pay money. I mean, you pay money to, like, living expenses, but you don't pay money a larger amount because you did most of the work. And that's how trade-offs work. So if you want to get something, you got to do something. If you want a cell phone, either create a cell phone or buy a cell phone. And how do you buy a cell phone? Going to work. And how do you go to work? You got to get skills. And how do you get skills? You educate yourself. And when you educate yourself, you get skills, and because you practice these things and you focus on them. And that's how life works. So anyway, that continues to the next part, which is in order to enjoy your suffering, we're not even going to enjoy it, but to be able to withstand it easier in time, find your temperament. Like, whatever your temperament is, like, that is you. So you got to try a lot of things in your 20s, kind of just navigate around, try things, go into sales, construction, office job, coach, a lot of things you do. Go try a bunch of things, and then once you kind of find what you want to do, bam, you're doing it. And then once you're doing it, it's like, oh, cool, life is straight now. Like, I get to have fun and I'm doing shit. And you just enjoy it. And that's how life goes, right? So find your temperament, which is find things that you can't stand. So, like, say, for example, if you are adversely against cold, Like cold is not something you operate very well in. You shut down, your body can't work. You should probably live someplace where it's warm or tropical, somewhere where you don't have to deal with so much cold because you're not good in operating cold, or you learn how to operate in cold. But the point is, find what like kind of you can deal with. You're like, okay, this is not that bad. Like, yeah, this part sucks, but whatever. I'm doing it. It doesn't bug you as much anymore. Then that's something you need to stick with. Or become a jack of trade and then learn how the different ways of it work, so you always stay interested. So there's always some new shit for you. That's one of the cool things is like I'm learning with being an electrician is there's always some new cool shit to do. Every day's different. And one of the things I started noticing when I was working in one single place is like it was kind of the same thing, repeated over and over and over and over again. Like you'll be new changes. I saw evolutions, things changing. But I kind of enjoying the service jobs because it's like I'm just going out and I'm doing things with a guy. It's like, okay, we gotta put a light pole up. Really? We gotta put a light pole up? Yeah, you gotta put a light pole up. Okay. Well, let me watch how this gets done. And you see the pattern, you see what happens. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. I can learn and do this. This can be fun. This is a cool thing to watch people do. And then as I'm learning to do it. And that's the thing with yourself. You gotta find like if you don't like getting hit, you probably shouldn't be a fighter. Now, if you like to really fight, then you should probably be a fighter. Look how you can make money in the fighting avenue, or look how you can make money doing physical things. And this brings on to my last thing, which is the hardest one for people, I think, for young men to accept, is that happiness doesn't exist as a man. There's only satisfaction. Like, if you want to be successful as a man, throw away your happiness. Because happiness only happens in like a split second. You're like, oh, that was cool. And then it goes away. You're like, oh, that sucks. And it's like, you got to understand, you just got to be satisfied with the way things are. Don't be looking for this weird, transparent feeling of like, it's like, bro, I'm chilling. I'm satisfied with where my life is. I mean, not satisfied like I'm going to sit here and this is where life is going to be, but like I'm satisfied with the progress I'm making in the future that my life is going. Because I know what time it's going to get better. Because I'm only going to get better when I'm focusing on. And I'm focusing on something that's very valuable. So that's the gang. Appreciate you guys listening. Hopefully you took away something from this lesson, which is life is trade-offs. And these fucking people, if you live in an apartment complex, there's going to be people mowing lawns. You can't do anything about that. That's one of the trade-offs because you get cheaper rent, you get more bullshit to deal with. Perfect life of trade-offs.